Hello again. We are Chris Lee and Chase Robinson of Southeastern 16 here to talk about Texas A&M and Mississippi State this coming Saturday. You can catch this one at the SEC Network, 3:15 Central. Bet Online, as we do this Monday afternoon, favors Texas A&M by 14.5 with an over-under of 55.5. That makes for a predicted final in the neighborhood of A&M 35, Mississippi State 21. My model's got A&M by 13. The Aggies come off a bye, having put on one of the more impressive performances of the season in a complete demolition of Missouri 2 weekends ago. Mississippi State has had the brutal back-to-back games against Texas and Georgia, but showed up for parts of the game. Kind of the first half against Texas was close. The second half against Georgia, State made it interesting with Michael Van Buren, their freshman quarterback. What are we thinking on this one going in, Chase?
I mean, Texas A&M is just playing such good football right now. We saw the way they played against Missouri. They really want that Notre Dame game back. I feel like this is an A&M team that's starting to find kind of their rhythm and find their identity, while Mississippi State's trying to, get Michael Van Buren at quarterback going. Blake Shapen, unfortunately, out with injury for the rest of the season. And if the season wasn't already a struggle for A&M, having to break in a new quarterback, but, they did some good things against Georgia. And so I think they're looking to build on that. So interesting matchup here coming up Saturday.
Let's talk about A&M's offense against Mississippi State's defense. Here are the numbers. A&M scoring 31 points a game on 66 snaps. On average, A&M runs at 61% of the time, averaging 6.0 yards per rushing play. That's the best in the league, and that takes sacks out of it and counts that against passing. A&M is throwing for 6.8 yards per passing attempt. The Aggies turn it over just 0.8% of the time. Mississippi State's defense allowing 33.2 points a game on 72 snaps. That's a lot. Forcing turnovers 1.6% of the time. Teams run it against State 54% of the time. 5.3 yards per rushing attempt, 7.9 yards per passing attempt, for 6.5 yards per play against State. A&M back to Connor Weigman, who looked really good in that win over Missouri. Of course, you got Marcel Reed in tow. You got Le'Veon Moss and others in the rushing attack. You got a bunch of guys catching passes these days. This is an A&M offense that's really starting to hit its stride. Against a Mississippi State defense, it's really struggled against pretty much everybody since that opener against Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, this A&M offense is it's looking good right now. They're clicking and they're going up against the defense of Mississippi State, who has really allowed everyone that they've played to put up big numbers. I mean, they gave up 30 to Arizona, 41 to Toledo, 45 to Florida, 35 to Texas, 41 to Georgia. And so they're giving up points, and A&M is good at taking advantage of that. And so I feel like the way A&M's offense is playing right now, they'll be able to, again, to put up some big numbers. We saw what they did to Missouri a couple of weeks ago, the last time out, putting up 41 against Missouri. Other than that, they put up 52 against McNeese. They haven't put up huge numbers, but I feel like you're in a scenario where they're starting to find the rhythm offensively, and this is a game they could kind of put up some big numbers.
Yeah, I feel like the over-under at 55.5 might be tough to stay under, the way State kind of moves the ball, which I'll get to next, and the way that A&M, I think, will score on State. But if you want to place some money on that, BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything sports betting, every live stat, every matchup, even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. With the largest catalog of odds on everything from football, MLB playoffs, NHL, NBA, and political props. When the game is over, head on over to our online casino, get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet Online, the game starts here. Okay, Chase, the matchup on the other side, Mississippi State's offense led by Michael Van Buren, who is going to be the quarterback, health willing, for the rest of the season now that Blake Shapen is done. The numbers for both sides of the matchup, and I think I do put some stock into these. State's offense is averaging 28 points a game on 68 snaps. It turns over the ball 1.5% of the time. Exactly a 50-50 run-pass balance, 4.4 per rushing play, 6.9 per passing play, for an average of 5.6 yards per snap. And A&M is giving up, 16.7 points, just 62 snaps against, 2.4% turnover rate. Teams throw it 55% of the time and average just 5.6 yards per passing play. That's one of the best numbers in the SEC. Teams are running at just 3.9 yards per rushing play, 4.8 yards on average against the A&M defense, which has played some good teams. So these aren't just numbers piled up against crummy opponents. Chase, your take on this side of the matchup.
Yeah, Jeff Lebby's an offensive guy, and when he has his players, like we saw what he was able to do as the offensive coordinator at a couple of different stops, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, and now he has an opportunity to kind of rebuild this offense. Now with Blake Shapen going down, that really hurts Mississippi State and the experience that he brings. But Michael Van Buren is stepping in, and one thing about Van Buren, he does have a good arm. He's not a running quarterback, and so when Shapen gets you out of some situations with his legs, Van Buren is not really that guy who's going to be able to do that. So that's one difference that I'm sure the offensive staff is having to kind of rework things of play calling around Van Buren's game. But I think it showed promise that they were able to put up 31 points on Georgia, who has a good defense, and so I think they are figuring things out. Johnnie Daniels, Davon Booth, Keon Lee, those are three good running backs that they have, and so you utilize those guys and get some of these receivers working. And Jeff Lebby can be creative. He's a creative offensive mind, and so I think we're going to have to see that in weeks to come with him being creative of getting Van Buren comfortable in the system and trying to work some of these kinks out of the offense. And again, but I thought it showed a lot of promise the way Mississippi State played against Georgia. They didn't give up, that's for sure.
All right, let's get to picks and why, and we'll start with you.
I'm going to go Texas A&M. They're just playing so good right now. I really think Texas A&M has a shot at maybe getting to the playoff. I mean, that's what we're talking about right now. They have one loss, that's to Notre Dame. You look at their schedule to come. Of course, Mississippi State this week, they do have LSU to come. They have, of course, Texas to end the year. But this is a team, if they rattle off some wins, if they stay on this roll they are, there's no telling what can happen. So I'm taking Texas A&M in this game, and they're rolling right now, and I don't think they stop anytime soon.
Yeah, I think if I were A&M, I'm not sure I would have wanted a bye week. The way they whipped Missouri 41-10, and of course that was the fifth in a series of 5 straight wins. Having said that, though, I don't know that it's bad to take some time off to get Connor Weigman more healthy. I mean, I'm obviously he was back in the game. I guess the health is better, but this time of the year you're getting banged up, so maybe that's a little bit of a blessing. It's in Starkville, and that makes it interesting. Against it's a team that's engaged and a team that's playing hard. I just think they've got too much. I don't think State can get stops. I think the way A&M runs the ball, I watched that Arizona State game where Mississippi State really struggled just to stop the run. And I think with Moss and those guys, you'll see a lot of that. I don't know that Mississippi State's got to really, or I don't know that A&M's really got to throw the ball a ton to win this game. And they can do both. And I think A&M wins this one. And probably fairly easy. But we'll be here to talk about it Saturday night. Best way to get that, hit that subscribe button. We cover baseball, football, and basketball year-round. Caroline.Smith at Southeastern14.com if you want to advertise with us. For Chase Robinson, I'm Chris Lee. You've been watching Southeastern 16 presented by Bet Online.